Our first song today is a reminder that I need to hear because when the weather turns like this, sometimes I forget that the world's not such a bad place. So our first song is What a Wonderful World. I see. I'll try that again. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful I see skies of blue or gray and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. All right, and then our next song this morning will be the Prayer of Saint Francis. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury or pardon, Lord. And where there's no true faith in you, oh Master, grant that I may never seek so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my
what unity is about. See, no matter how we're feeling, the way we might judge ourselves, we have this light, we have this love, we have this forgiveness already in us. And we are those vessels. That's an incredible thing, that we are those vessels of light, able to give to people. And when we begin to see that increasingly, what does that do for our self-image? What does that do for our sense of power, for good? Yes, and other people are affected. And thank you for Mariko and Mila for such beautiful, beautiful music. Yeah, and that's what we're all about. And you look at all the unity teachings or metaphysical teachings from more than 100 years ago, you see those themes in there. And it's so, so important. And we have a vision statement. And it really points to these same things, that we envision a spiritually awakened world flowing with what? Divine love. We're an inclusive, loving community dedicated to teach, inspire, and practice positive spiritual living. So we're opening our hearts even now to the goodness, the strength, and power, that Spirit that God has given to everybody, that we are simply more aware of. And we're bringing that right now together with intention and with feeling. And we're creating a spiritually powerful field now within ourselves, around us. And we believe whatever is happening today, we're going to take and bring to others, to bring encouragement, hope, love, and forgiveness. And so it is. Paul McCartney's mother died when he was only 14. His mother's name was Mary. And he had a dream about her that basically had let it be. And that's what this song is about. Mother Mary comes to me. An amazing thing. I only learned this a few years ago. I said, wow. So I don't know what happens in your dreams, but maybe we never know what might happen. So Rico and Mila, let's stand. Oh, we've got some good percussion here. All right. Woo.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be. Words of wisdom, let it be. When the broken-hearted people living in this world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. When the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be.
Oh, wasn't that nice? Well, sometimes we just have to let go and let it be. Other times, we can light that candle. Isn't that great, that spiritual balance where sometimes all things going on, and I said to myself, Philip, just let go. Just stop holding on. It's not that these things are on your shoulder. You're putting them on there. Let it, and you can't push them off. Sometimes you just got to let them slide off, right? But other times, wait a minute, I can light a candle here. The light's in me, all around me. I just need to light that Christ consciousness. This consciousness that we believe that Jesus had in a magnificent way, but we also believe that was something that was universal, was always available. And we sincerely believe that that's what he came to teach us. You have it too. Not a separate God out there, a separate being, but one that we have all of. Because where is the kingdom? Within. Within. I didn't know whether you're going to say inside or within, but within sounds better. Isn't that amazing? So let's look at our wonderful, wonderful principles, and let's read them together. God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. We're spiritual beings created in God's image. The Spirit of God lives within each person. Therefore, all people are inherently good. We create our life experiences through our way of thinking. Through prayer and meditation, we increase our conscious contact with God, bringing forth love, wisdom, health, prosperity, and everything good. Knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. And from our daily word, prosperity. Wow. Prosperity fills my life. Current flowing through my home's wiring provides light. Not where I was, because there was somebody, the alley that I go into to park my car, somebody hit the telephone pole, and when I got home, it was dark. But after an hour or so, let there be light. It's amazing how one little thing can interrupt, and I didn't have candles. And now, if anyone for Christmas, you want to get me candles? No, I'm just kidding. Maybe I'll just take the Christ. Forgive me. Current flowing through my home's wiring provides light. But first I must flip the switch to turn it on. Divine substance. Divine substance. Marion, one of these days you're going to speak about that. That's a heavy subject. Divine substance, the building block of creation, is the source from which my prosperity grows. But first I must claim it in consciousness to live a prosperous life. The divine idea of prosperity is unlimited, more than sufficient to meet every need. I know true prosperity where I live from this truth. Giving freely and generously keeps prosperity at the forefront of my consciousness. I know the more I give, the more of myself I place into circulation, the more I will experience. As I give of myself, I increase the flow of prosperity in my life and in the world. Mark's Gospel, the chapter, 4th chapter. And he said to them, pay attention to what you hear. The measure you give will be the measure you get, and still more will be given you. Wow. Prosperity fills my life. Let's say that together 3 times. Prosperity fills my life. Prosperity fills my life. Prosperity fills my life. And one thing of prosperity is children. Isn't it amazing? You know, children, different age, they grow up, but we see more children. Isn't it wonderful, life? And so we think of children in our own lives, or ones that come into our consciousness, awareness. There's always challenges, and we pray and lift them up and believe that their life is an example to us. May we be like them, but also may we love them and care for them in any way we can. And so it is. Well, we've got some announcements. We remember, well, let's go by date here. December 11th, Saturday, a holiday sing-along luncheon at Marianne Hackworth's home, 261 La Road. It says, come and gather for fun, fellowship, delicious food. Or sing-along, bring a friend and your appetites, because Marianne is cooking up a delicious hot meal. Any particulars yet?
On the menu, you mean?
Yeah.
Actually, I already prepared and froze ahead meatballs, but we'll try to have ham, scalloped potatoes, pasta salad. It's going to be good.
Wow.
Couple cakes.
Couple cakes. Well, there's going to be holiday caroling, jokes and trivia, and lots of merriment. Whew. As we share the afternoon together, contact the host. There she is. Wow. And the next day, Santa's Gift Workshop here at 12 o'clock. Hopefully I pronounced Donna Hmaleski? Is that how you say it? Sometimes you just get to slur names, and hopefully it'll come out all right. There was fundraising events throughout the year, and all the proceeds will benefit the spiritual community. And so it says, bring your unwrapped gifts, paper, ribbon, and join us in wrapping up the season. I'll have assorted wired Christmas ribbon for you to use, and I'll teach you how to make some colorful bows for your packages. Bring a dish to share, and we'll eat before creating. And then lastly, over the years, there's been a wonderful time when people get together decorating here. And Marianne usually leads it, and been great experiences. And the result is, whew, wow, ho, 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 Mary, Mary, Mary. So we got to speak to you about that, Marianne? Okay, all righty. I don't think there's anything else. And where are we? Oh, of course, we continue looking for greeters. What a wonderful opportunity to use the spirit that's in you to just bring that wonderful spirit to others. Okay, let's take some deep breaths to change a little shift in our energy. Relax our bodies. We're opening our spirit to the song coming up for a meditation. And prayer is really any thought of energy. We are constantly praying. So right now, just bring however you want to visualize that energy that's positive, practical, loving, caring, forgiving. It's in you, in full. Just become aware and release it now. I'm opening up in sweet surrender.
I am opening up in sweet surrender surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening.
As the music plays in the back, just relax the body, take deep breaths. Your feet on the floor, feeling the solidity of the chair, the floor. Rest. Visualize the energy that you see around you throughout your day. It waxes and wanes, doesn't it? All sorts of things happening around you. Busyness. See yourself as someone who isn't caught up in too much energy, too much hyperactivity, but is able to let it be and let it go. See yourself as that. Discernment. See yourself as someone who's centered. But then see yourself as someone when there's wonderful positive energy that you join in. You allow that wonderful, sweet energy to fill you and to flow through you. And then when energy around you wanes, see yourself as someone always able to contribute positive, practical power and love and feelings. Always an opportunity to lift someone up. Just a smile. Sometimes just in a low. And let's see ourselves as our own feelings inside wax and wane. May we all be more aware of what goes on inside to raise our consciousness. to know how to deal, to know when to let go, let it be, and other times to light a candle. And most of all, right now, celebrate. Do you have this power and ability all the time? This wonderful gift of just being alive. Let go of those times when you haven't been as aware and you allow things to bother you. Let go of that. Forgive yourself. But celebrate those positive times when you were right on target. And lastly, let's celebrate God in us, as us. Let's take some deep breaths. And so it is. And now a song that I'm not sure I know this one. Maybe I do. The Other Side. Is that pronounced za?
It's pronounced Siza.
Oof. We've been dealing with pronunciation this morning. Siza, okay.
You're preaching to the choir, stop hating on yourself, quit playing with your mind, you're spinning. If you think that I'm a liar, just try it for yourself. The clouds will open up, blue skies are willing. Yeah, I know it's so hard to throw away. The clouds will open up, blue skies are willing. Back on your feet again, lift your head, hold it high. You wanna run it back, but you can't turn the time. You start to feel like you're losing your shine, but the grass ain't always greener on the other side. Oh, 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 oh. So the grass ain't always greener on the other side. Hey, you, stop stressing about what you're missing. So blue, take it easy, take your time. If you think my words are wise, just try it for yourself. Promise the stars will light the path you walk, don't give in. Got a heart of gold, what a shame to go to waste. The clouds will open up, blue skies are willing. Back on your feet again, lift your head, hold it high. You wanna run it back, but you can't turn the time. You start to feel like you're losing your shine, but the grass ain't always greener on the other side. Back on your feet again, lift your head, hold it high. You wanna run it back, but you can't turn the time. You start to feel just take it from me, you'll be okay. 'Cause it don't matter how sweet it tastes. Oh, that grass ain't green, don't worry, don't lose no sleep. You wanna get back on your feet, lift your head, hold it high. You wanna run it back, but you can't turn back all this time. You feel like the grass ain't always
You know, the passion in the guitar playing and the singing there was really, what a difference it makes, huh? Wow. To wax and wane, you know, oftentimes I get a pretty good idea of what Mary Ann is going to speak about by the title, but this could go a lot of different directions, but I know it's going to be a good one. Mary Ann Hackworth.
Good morning, everyone. Those of you at home, welcome. It's so great to be here and to talk to you a little bit about this interesting title. I know, I thought it would probably catch your eye, waxing and waning, right? But, you know, it's funny, Mariko started out our service this morning talking about the weather, changing the weather. And that's what actually inspired this talk. In the month of October, we just left, wasn't October gorgeous? I mean, I think here in Pittsburgh, we had how many clear, beautiful days of blue skies and warm nights, right? The weather was mild, it was warm. We found ourselves taking walks in nature, going outside. And during that time, what did we notice up in the sky? This mysterious thing, the moon, right? I mean, it really has fascinated people throughout the ages because the moon is constantly changing. And I noticed it a lot in October. I don't know, also having this little granddaughter that we have that just turned 3, she would notice the moon when you get a day moon, right? We would be out playing and she'd be, look, Omi, moon, look at the moon, you know? And this fascination, children see it right away. Even if I missed it, I'd look up, there it is. Yep, there it is, Olivia. Isn't it beautiful? And then it changes, right? Every day, day to day, there's a slight change in it. And it led me to say to myself, what do I know about this moon? Not much, you know? So I Google it. I have to find out more about these lunar phases, and I have to thank Mariko for putting that up on our website this week. The lunar phases of the moon are caused by the position of the moon in relation to the sun. When we see a portion of the moon shadowed and invisible, it is because the dark portion of the moon is the half that is turned away from the sun. So I'm thinking about this. Everything to me always inspires like spiritual analogies, right? And the moon to me is a metaphor, because even when we are looking up at that sky and we only see that little sliver, that crescent, does that mean that the moon has disappeared? Or is it just simply not visible to us? Because it's not, the sun is not illuminating it, the sun is not shining directly upon it, it is in a shadow phase. That we use that term a lot too in life, don't we, as the shadows. But it does not mean that the moon is gone. The essence of moonness continues to exist, even as it changes its shape and its form in a way, as we look at it. And that's where this idea of waxing and waning comes from. So I looked those terms up and I realized that in relation to the moon, the waxing is when a progressively larger part of it is visible to us. And waning is when a progressively smaller part of it, the visible portion, is shrinking to our visible eye. And in a literary sense, waxing is when we become larger, stronger, more vigorous, more vibrant, more expanded spiritually. When we add unto, we have those days in our life where we feel so refreshed and we wake up ready to charge out and greet the day and take on whatever comes, and we're energized and we're adding unto and we feel expansion. And then there's days we wake up and we feel a little sluggish. Maybe we know why, maybe we don't. Maybe it's because we didn't eat the right meal a day before. Maybe it's because we've had some bad news. Maybe it's because, as Philip mentioned earlier, that we've been so busy. The mind has been so active that we're kind of weighed down from that. The headlines that we've read, whatever. And then we feel that we're waning. We're diminishing. We feel smaller. And then I think to myself, isn't that really kind of the sense of life itself? That there is this expansion and contraction. The way we breathe, the way our diaphragm is moving and expanding and allowing all of the life force in, and then contracting and pushing that breath back out. So perhaps this waxing and waning, this was my thinking, is not so unnatural. Maybe it's truly the rhythm of our own existence. Maybe it's the way that we really operate. And maybe when I'm in a period of contracting or waning, I shouldn't be so hard on myself. Maybe that's a lesson to all of us, right? Is to not be so hard on ourselves when we feel like we've fallen out of practice. As we say in an old term, falling out of favor with God. Isn't that an old expression, right? Yeah. How could we possibly fall out of favor with God when God is the inhalation and the exhalation? God is everywhere present. Expanding, contracting. The phases of the moon are a reminder to us that the essence of God remains. The moon hasn't gone anywhere, nor does God ever extract itself from us. So I look into Myrtle Fillmore, Mother Myrtle, right? She was referred to as the founder or the foundation of unity, right? The co-founder with her husband, Charles. There's a book of her compiled letters that she wrote, and I've been referencing them a lot this past month or two because I'm in a class and we're reading this amazing book called How to Let God Help You. How to Let God Help You. When we're in a contracted state and we feel separated and lost, let us allow this power to help us. It is existing for us. She wrote this in one of her letters. None of us has learned to abide in the Christ consciousness continuously. Think about that. Here was a woman who trained her mind to use affirmative language, affirmative thoughts, affirmative action. She literally trained her thought patterns and turned her life around from a terminal illness of tuberculosis to full health, where she went on to live 20 more years, or more, actually, because it started in her 40s, she lived into her 80s. She trained her mind, and yet she said in her letter, none of us has learned to abide in the Christ consciousness continuously, but the times we do rise into it keep us growing and overcoming and establishing more of its truth into our lives. The more we turn our sight to the truth and abide in the knowing of who and what we are, the more we bring this essence forth, and the more natural it is to us, and the more that we can accept the expansion and contraction of our own physical existence. We just had a concert last week, and the title of it was Flesh and Spirit. And I thought, what an important title and topic for this music that David Hawkins brought to us, because here we are spirit. We know we are spirit, and yet we walk in flesh. We walk into this physical world, and at times it is heavy. And yet we return, as Myrtle said, as often as possible and abide and establish more and more of truth in our lives. And I was looking at the moon, and then I was looking around. Another aspect of October, you noticed, right? Gorgeous colors. Brilliant orange and gold and red and all of the warmth moving those leaves and the foliage, and we were just relishing it and taking it all in. And here's November. And here's that wind and that gray sky that Mariko mentioned, and all of these leaves falling into the ground. And I'm thinking about that mighty oak tree. The mighty oak. Does it stand and look down at the leaves and say, "Look at me now. I was so grand. I was so beautiful and gorgeous, and now I'm naked, exposed to the world"? Oh. No, it doesn't do that. It stands as a lesson for all of us. The mighty oak, in its grandeur, in its consciousness of oakness, it allows itself to go through the phases of its existence. The leaves were part of its grandeur in October, and now the limbs stand bare and strong, and they await spring because they have every intention and knowing that spring will bring forth blossoming. They're not sweating the small stuff. They allow themselves to be oak, as we allow ourselves to be physical human beings, carrying the spirit forward into this world. Here's what Myrtle said: "We are not to feel discouraged if after such a glorious experience we seem to lose the Christ consciousness and go back into old habits." This is Myrtle Fillmore giving us some slack. We cannot really lose anything that Spirit has expressed in us. The oak hasn't lost its oakness simply because those leaves have fallen to the ground. Nor can we lose anything that Spirit has given us and expressed in us. She said, "We simply let it sink into our human consciousness to do its good work." Those insights that you have when you're connected to Source are in you. They're in your consciousness. They will not leave you. They have enhanced your spirit already. And they're not going anywhere. She said, just as we plant seeds in the ground and apparently lose them in order that they may grow and bring forth many, many other seeds. And there's the oak looking down at the acorns, dropping them into the earth and knowing that seedlings will come forth. These insights that we have planted in our minds during those moments of awareness, you have had moments of awareness that you dipped your toe into the water and you said, "Yeah, I feel you, God. I feel you in me." Those are seeds within you. And they're never going to go away because they will bring forth many other seeds, as Myrtle said in her very lyrical writing. The beauty and fragrance of the budding and blossoming come forth before the ripe fruit. And the ripe fruit is continued spiritual expansion, a continuous spiral of spiritual evolutionary path that we are all on. Here is something amazing. I just happened to see this November the 9th in the Science of Mind Digest I get. Mother Teresa's journals were found after her death. By the way, I'll tell you who wrote this, so they go acknowledged. I always forget. Reverend Dr. Petra Welds wrote the daily guides for the month of November. She wrote this: Mother Teresa's journals were found after her death. They revealed the challenges she faced in doubting her calling, uncertainty for the path that she had chosen, and fear that things might not work out. Yet we know she had an impact in Calcutta and on the whole world. Mother Teresa. She had her moments of contraction, her moment of fear and doubt and worry, and she faced day in and day out the poverty in Calcutta, and she influenced us. Millions of people saw this little tiny woman filled with a radiant love and light, and yet in her moments in her journal, she spoke to her God self within and revealed her worries and her fears, just as we have in our moments of waning. Here's what she went on to say. I remember a story a reporter once wrote about Mother Teresa. He asked her how she stayed so positive with so many people needing her every day. She shared this. At any time that she found herself alone during the day, like in an elevator, she would take that moment to breathe and put a small smile on her lips. Just the upturning of the corners of her mouth for 15 seconds with a deep breath in. She would then easily greet with a smile whoever was next to see her. Something that simple, something that basic, as just turning your attention inward and looking at your essence and allowing it to breathe you, bringing forth more. So in one of my classes that I was talking to you about earlier, we were talking kind of about this waxing and waning. And someone brought up the shadow side of us. And they said, for a point of discussion, well, isn't it important to acknowledge our shadow so that we can transform us, to know that it exists? And I was like, let me think about that. What does unity principle, what does the philosophy of unity, metaphysical creation teach us? Not that we deny the shadow. We can't deny what's taking place around us and in the world. We read the headlines. We see violence. We see the manifestation of fear. And yet we don't dwell on it. Because again, as in the moon, we know that the existence of this divine love is ever present. That is what we turn our attention to. As Myrtle Fillmore said, we use denials to deny the power that fear has over us. There's a difference. We deny the power that anger has over us. We know that we go through phases where we're afraid or fearful or angry or resentful or critical. And yet we deny the power that it has to tear us down and keep us in the shadow. You see, just as the moon will eventually have the illumination from the sun, we know that that phase is too growing in us. I was thinking the lyrics earlier in the service. I'm opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. That's what we turn to. That's how we grow. And that's how it takes us, friends, you and I, in our moments of doubt, when we read headlines that devastate us. That's what uplifts us. And we go from waning to waxing again. There's a teacher that was brought forth, well, actually, I'd heard of her years and years ago, and then I just recently, through this class I'm taking, we watched a video of a woman named Barbara Marx Hubbard. You may have heard of Barbara Marx Hubbard. She made her transition in 2019. She was an author and a futurist, very spiritual individual, but with a sociology degree, with a political science degree. She looked at our existence and wrote several books on our consciousness, our conscious evolution. This particular interview was entitled Conscious Evolution, Awakening the Power of Our Social Potential. And she starts off by saying that back in the 1960s, there's a psychologist named Abraham Maslow. You may have heard of him. Abraham Maslow was one of the first psychologists who looked instead of at the flaws of mental illness, his desire, and this is the question he put forth, what constitutes positive mental health? Remember the difference between Sigmund Freud and Abraham Maslow. Abraham wanted to look at what makes people positive. What are the attributes of us in our flesh as we feel positive? So he studied this, and he came to identify something he called self-actualization, a self-actualized human being. A self-actualized human being, like you, like me, like all of us here, self-actualized human beings, we have come to notice intrinsic joy and satisfaction, what we call sometimes well-being. When we find a vocation or something that we do that is bringing forth a sense of intrinsic joy, do you know what that feels like, intrinsic joy? When the words that you just said to someone resonate in your heart, and you sense that they received your words, and you and them have a connection, and you and them have shared an insight or a laugh or a conversation, and you have a sense of intrinsic well-being. That is called self-actualization. And up until Abraham Maslow put forth these tenets of self-actualization, we didn't really see ourselves that way. I guess psychologists looked at what was flawed. And don't we have a tendency to do this? We have a tendency in our human world to look at what's going wrong, not what's going right inside of us. So Barbara Marx Hubbard took Abraham Maslow's ideas further and said that society as a whole, the collective, is moving into this self-actualization. Society is evolving. There is a consciousness, a spiral of awakened consciousness that is growing in us. And she said that problems are our evolutionary drivers, problems that we have exposed in the physical realm, problems of racism, hatreds, have been exposed and brought to the surface, and it's ugly to look at, and it's painful to look at. But they are our evolutionary drivers. They are what's inspiring us to allow evolution to move through us, through our consciousness. Here's the way she explains evolution. We used to think from Darwin's time, right? Darwinism. We used to believe that evolution was, how do we put this? Random mutation, survival of the fittest, the process of natural selection, guided by accidents and trial and error. That was the old paradigm for our evolution. The new paradigm for our evolution is consciousness is primary. It is causal, essence, source. Consciousness is what has existed eternally and what has brought forth physical realm. And so the genius of evolution, these are her words, the genius of evolution is consciousness in action. You, the genius of evolution in you, is the consciousness in you taking action in every moment. We have this power to decide whether we will wax or wane, whether we will expand ourselves. And every time that we make a choice, she puts it this way, there's this tipping point in our own existence. Are we moving towards this evolutionary spiral of awakened consciousness? Are we moving it upward? Are we dropping back and remaining stuck in this dark thought process? See, when you look over, she was saying, over billions of years of our existence, billions of years, she said that all along the pathway, there has been a crisis that has allowed organisms to grow. Single-cell organism, multi-cell organism, plant life, animal life, human form. Throughout evolution, there are points of time where there was a crisis in the environment that spurred evolution. And I was thinking about it. We're continuously expanding. It'll never stop. We are eternal spiritual beings. So lift your mind into that knowing. Allow yourself to feel your consciousness growing and expanding. Allow the moon to be your reminder to you. Or you could even allow the words of St. Paul. I'll finish with his words. He wrote to the Colossians. He said, "The mystery that has been hidden throughout the ages and generations, but has now been revealed to his saints, Christ in you, the hope of glory." The mystery is being revealed in you. Christ in you, consciousness in you is the hope of glory. Namaste. I thought I had my mask. Oh,
Wow, so when a crisis, or sometimes it's just crap, comes into our lives, we can now say, gosh, here comes some growth. Here comes some growth. But no, really, it's funny, but usually we interpret it as some problem, or usually, well, I screwed up, but no, hey, here comes some growth. Fantastic. Wax and wane. All right, well, our reading had about prosperity and giving, and so we give not just for just the continuation of this incredible service and ministry that we have to ourselves and so many others, but also to practice, to be in that flow. So we take our offering and say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Okay.
Oh. Did you even listen to the message?
It was really amazing. Time is different from here in California, but throughout the world, it's always a full moon to everybody. I never thought about that. That's pretty amazing. I'm not sure what the spiritual principle is, but okay. Stand up as we sing Rain Down.
Open your eyes, open your mind, be ready to receive. God has got you in mind. Open your ears, make a change in your life. It's your time to prosper. There's no need for strife. Do you know what it takes? Do you know what God needs? You've got to be willing to give if you want to receive. Love, peace, rain down, health, joy, rain down, wealth, abundance, rain down, rain down. Love, peace, rain down, health, joy, rain down, wealth, abundance, rain down, rain down, rain down. Open your heart, let God's power unfold. It's bounty aplenty and riches untold. Awaken your soul, feel the change in your life. God's wealth is yours, there's no need for strife. Do you know what it takes? Do you know what God needs? You've got to be willing to give if you want to receive. Love, peace, rain down, wealth, joy, rain down, health, abundance, rain down.
And now the light of God surrounds me. I am light. The love of God enfolds me. I am love. The power of God protects me. I am power. The presence of God watches over me. I am present. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Blessings. See you next Sunday.